Usopp's gone, the Going Merry has been abandoned, Iceberg has been shot, we don't know who the hell did it, Franky's on his way back, and the shit's about to hit the fan. One Piece, chapter 334, Big Trouble in the Secret Room. Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the awesome and action-packed, thrill-a-minute, fantastical tale of One Piece. Our last chapter saw us with really the fight between Luffy and Usopp ending, and Luffy and the crew walking away at the end from the Going Merry with their belongings, leaving Usopp there, knocked out unconscious with some medicine and such by him, and really it was heart-wrenching. I mean, God, I still got a bad feeling in my stomach about the whole thing and how it happened. But that's how things left off, and that's where things pick up. We actually have a couple of pages, and I mean, God, you can almost hear the wind blowing as I was reading this. You know what I mean? Just sort of like this cold, desolate feeling. They show an overhead view of the Going Merry, and Usopp's laying, looks like unconscious on the deck, and then they actually go and they show a couple of shots below deck, and all their belongings and stuff are cleared out. You see the bookcase in the back, and there's all their stuff obviously is gone, and I mean, it just looks like this ghost ship, you know, ghost town. And again, very, very emotional, very heart-wrenching to see, and only because of the fact that, you know, you identify with these characters, and the ship in its own way was a character. I mean, it really was when you think about it. I mean, just through all the flashbacks and just seeing the different types of goofy stuff that happened on the ship. I mean, when Luffy went and took the mast and jammed it in Laboon's head, jacked him up, you know. Just all different types of things that happened to this, you know, to this ship, and then to see them not only to, you know, part ways with the ship, but to have what happened between Luffy and Usopp happen is just gut-wrenching. But this chapter, but unfortunately, we do have to move into the review part, I guess, of it. You know, talk a little bit, ramble, recap, give my thoughts, and after we get that couple of pages over there, we wind up seeing the Straw Hats. They wound up staying at this inn somewhere in town in Water 7 there through the night, and we see that nobody really slept well. Sanji says that he wound up going back and keeping watch for Robin, to see if she was going to come back over there, obviously at the at the kind of wharf, the reef that they docked at. And, everybody, again, is still very emotionally distraught, it seems like. Luffy even seems like he's deep in thought, and for Luffy, I don't know what that actually entails, being deep in thought, but nonetheless, though, you see that there's some buzz and some commotion going on in the city, and as they kind of go back and forth between, the characters and what have you, and then, Nami goes and says, yeah, didn't you hear about it? The whole town's abuzz, And apparently, and then they go and they just drop us. I tell you, they don't even give you a chance to recover, So just punch you right in the face. Mr. Iceberg, right, the mayor of Water 7 and the president of the Galley company, has been shot and is in a coma. Right. At first, I thought they were going to say he was shot and he was dead. Shot and was in a coma. Now, I have no idea at this point who could have done something like this. As we go back and forth throughout the chapter, and we see it from the perspective of some of his different, some of his different employees, Lulu and Paulie and stuff like that, and Kaku. We wind up finding out through a series of different events. He's in his home. There's a bunch of reporters trying to get in there. This is obviously big news for them, And there was actually one point, too, towards the end of the chapter, I thought that was funny, where Paulie was just trying to get through, and they kept, oh, we gotta get a statement, we gotta get a statement. And I swear to God, when I see those type of things, like on TV, I wish somebody would just lash out and just beat the shit out of these people. And I don't care about the public has the right to know and the freedom of speech and everything else. There is a time and a place for everything, and when something like this happens, sorry, it's not the time or the place right then. You want to report on news, report that something happened, and you'll gather more information as you get it, But unfortunately, sometimes these freaking hound dogs, they just follow people and just annoy you to the point where people want to lash out and hit them. But nonetheless, it was funny because Paul was just like, let me through, I told you to leave me alone. But we find out that he was shot. There was no signs of forced entry at all, okay? And so there's no, the locks were still on the doors and windows and everything else. And he gets, he got shot in his office. Was shot 3 times from the front and 2 times from behind. So it appears that as if he was shot and then tried to maybe turn and get away from his assailant and was shot 2 more times. The only thing that was left at the scene of the crime was a mask, and that doesn't give us much, though, to go on, because if you remember when we first came into Water 7, half the goddamn city's wearing these masks, because then we find out there's some kind of big thing going on, party, whatever, on one of these other areas or islands or something like that nearby there, and that's why many people are wearing these things. So I have no clue what's going on. While all this is happening, the sea train comes back in and pulls in, and Franky and a couple of his cohorts wind up getting off. And I actually kind of smiled and smirked a little bit about that one, because I thought, in my mind, you know, I was thinking, okay, first of all, I don't care what you think your job is, legit and everything else and whatnot. The Franky family went and used pure and simple numbers to go and to do an underhanded thing, which was stealing. Okay, they stole from Usopp. Nobody tried to attack him and fight him one-on-one. They just overwhelming numbers they took him out with. Then they went and on top of that went and took some of the money that they had stolen. They're partying with it and everything else. And then who knows what Franky went to spend the other money with. But you can tell that these are not. They're not upstanding type of people anyway, you know what I mean? And all of you that are trying to beat the drum about, oh, and they're just doing a job. Bullshit! They're not doing a job. You think that the Straw Hats are bad when they chill and have a party after they go and, like, save a country or something like that? That's minor compared to these guys. Several chapters ago, after they stole the money and brought it to Franky, he was talking about how he can never get this much money together because he always gambles it away, always pisses it away on something stupid, or they always piss it away on parties and everything like that, you know? Nonetheless, so I'm not going to get into it too much deeper because I know there's apparently a bunch of people that are swinging from Franky and his family's dick, and that's fine. Good for you. Again, opinions may vary, and mine may change as more things come to light. But as of right now, I feel as if it was very justified and deserved that their whole house was leveled and what have you, and I really hope Franky gets some too. Just because of, like I said, what they did. I mean, and especially now in light of what happened after that with Usopp and Luffy. You know, I mean, I feel really bad. I mean, these guys went and beat up Usopp, took the money from all this type of stuff. It might not have come to a head like this. Usopp may have accepted things with the Going Merry a little bit differently had he not already been beaten down the emotional ladder and just is hanging there on the bottom rung, you know? So I feel like a lot of these things that happen with this, because of this Franky family that were instigated, I think a lot of that wound up actually lending to and may have been the catalyst that drove Usopp over the edge and really got him to, you know, to really go and maybe do something that he'll later on regret, or maybe already is regretting, you know. So nonetheless, so again, just my opinion, but my 2 cents for what it's worth. So we wind up finding out from the Straw Hats back to them, we find out that they're basically going to split up. They're going to use the inn temporarily as kind of a means of rendezvous and what have you. Looks like Chopper and Sanji are going to go out and kind of search the town, see if they can come across Robin. Looks like Luffy and I believe Nami was going to follow along with them, wanted to go see what was going on when they heard about the stuff with Iceberg, to kind of go check things out, see if they can maybe get near him, maybe find out, what have you. I'm not really sure exactly on that. But, you know, ultimately we still have, of course, you know, Robin, of course, is still missing. We know what's going on with Usopp. And then, at the end of the chapter, we wind up getting, it's great, because about the middle of the chapter, maybe middle, 2/3 in, you know, that we should have a scene or two where Franky actually gets off this train, you know, and clearly, I guess he's wearing some kind of mask or whatever. And then, at the end of the chapter, I thought it was great, because at the end of the chapter, he goes and shows up over here, and he sees his house just decimated. And, you know, and obviously, I don't know exactly with his house being decimated. I don't know if they did break every bone in their body, if they hospitalized or killed some of his family. I mean, I know pretty much nobody seems to die in here, so I'm assuming they just beat him to within an inch of their life. But I just love this. He's just like, what the heck is going on? And then he's like, I get it. It has to be them. And that's how the chapter ends. And also after he goes and winds up taking off this mask that, to me, it kind of looked like a mask anyway to begin with, but whatever. So he takes it off, and then you don't really see him yet. He's still kind of in the dark. He's a shadow over here. So, and again, I don't really know too much about this family, about the character, or whatever the case may be. You know, whether he's a protagonist eventually, an antagonist. I mean, he's an antagonist now, it seems like. Eventually maybe he becomes good, whatever the deal. All I know is that it kind of gave me a small sense of satisfaction after the emotional, turbulent roller coaster that I've been on for the last few chapters, with everything with the Going Merry, with the money getting stolen, with Usopp getting beat, with them going, and then you're back on the high, because then everybody goes and just levels the Franky family house, and then you're back on a low because you've got the Usopp and the Luffy argument, and then the fight between them. You know, you'd think it's going to be one-sided. Luffy's just going to be like, gum, whatever, and take out Usopp. Usopp's ass came prepared, you know, and I mean, for almost 2 chapters, I mean, was battling and winning against Luffy. But unfortunately, though, in the end, you know, obviously he did get overcome. I mean, not that I'd like to see Luffy get beat. I really would like to see them beat the shit out of each other and then get to the point where they both were like, you know what, this is stupid. Let's hug and be friends again. But clearly that's not what's happening either. So we're getting curveballs all over the place, man, you know. And anybody who's ever played baseball, it's tough to hit the curve. So near impossible. But even when you know it's coming. So, but that's how the chapter ends off. And I guess my chapter question for you, though, brothers and sisters, is really, what are your thoughts on this whole situation here with, I guess just, for me, there's a feeling of emptiness now that they're not on the Going Merry. So it seemed like surreal that they were meeting at this inn, this hotel or what have you, you know? What are your thoughts, though, on that, on the loss of the Going Merry, and just kind of the desolate feeling, at least that I felt, and I don't know for how many chapters I'm going to feel this, maybe once they get a replacement ship and what have you, and you know, some of the crew is, but as it is right now, a third of the crew is gone. Usopp's gone. You know, has quit, has left, whatever, beaten, bloody, broken, bruised. Robin has disappeared. We have no idea. The first thing I thought of when I heard about the shooting of Mr. Iceberg, I thought of Robin, but then I thought Robin wouldn't shoot him. Robin could look in from a window. Well, actually, I guess, you know, come to think of it, though, I guess Robin could look into him from a window and sprout an arm and grab a gun if maybe he had a gun on him, and then actually go and shoot him. Maybe that's how he got shot in the front and the back, because she was switching between, you know, between the hands or something. But my first inclination was because he has some kind of connection or knows something about her, and he's looking at that wanted poster, maybe, and she disappeared several chapters ago. Maybe she's the one who did this. But then I thought twice on it, and I thought, well, no, maybe not, because she would have just, you know, just came in and maybe broke his neck or whatever with her clutch move, you know. Anyway, I don't know what the hell is going on. You know, answer whatever question you'd like to in the comments down below. Obviously, if you can try to keep it spoiler-free, I'd certainly appreciate it. You know, and just too, because of a lot of new folks coming on board, a lot of new brothers and sisters of the nation, and just hitting this very, very turbulent, emotional, very high-paced, high-octane arc here. I've really been, I haven't been avoiding the comments, but I haven't been as active in them, so so certainly, mainly just because of, you know, a lot of the spoilerish type things that I've been warned about, and my kind of checks and balance system it hasn't really gone out the window, but it's kept me from interacting as much as I'd like to. So nonetheless, though, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching all of you
in the next one, Nation.
Sanji makes smoking look cool, doesn't he? Anyway, subscribe to my other channel. Check me out over on Twitter and Facebook and even Instagram.